We talked public money. Let's talk private investments. Since the rules could be completely different for this game, and also the preparation required is also slightly different. So our next speaker has spent years with founders on the thing that could be, I would say, even the hardest in raising money. It's not the product, it's not the market, it's the pitch itself, that easy or not. So that's the moment when everything has to land. Sibilla Strupule is an investor pitch authority and a founder herself. And she's here today with us with 10 facts every founder in this room needs to know about raising in 2026. Eva, I warmed up the mic for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. First of all, I want to say that we should, how does this work? I think that our organizers of the event today deserve a big round of applause for actually putting this event together. So Karina, Maria, yes, and Christine, I think you've done an excellent job on bringing attention to the European funding schemes and also private investments and institutional investments. So I just want to start by that. Thank you. Now, let's talk about private investments and institutional investments. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have any founders actually here today? Just curious. Okay, quite a few. Okay, like half of you. Amazing. And have you already managed to fundraise thus far? Or in the process? In the process. Okay, fantastic. Then you're at the right place at the right time. I will try to give you some hints on how to fundraise successfully in 2026 or actually beyond. So, a few words about me. So my name is Sibilla Strupule. I'm a Latvian-born international entrepreneur. I've lived in 6 countries and hopefully not counting anymore because I'm back and I'm very happy to be back. I have one exit that happened in 2018. So yeah, since then I've built companies, scaled companies across 6 countries, all in Europe thus far. I've been also quite lucky to receive over 20 international awards, both for my business ventures and also for just basic pitching. And that's what I do right now. I help founders pitch investors in order to be successful at fundraising. So that is entirely what I focus my time, my attention, and so far I've trained definitely well over 100 teams and collectively helped raise over 70 million euros, give or take. I've also worked with the United Nations, with the World Bank, and with Visa on different projects. I've been a jury at different global startup pitching events. And so I'm here to tell you how to be a bit more successful when you are ready to fundraise today. First, I want to start with the statistic that I think is quite impressive. And I think that we should be very proud of this statistic because Latvia's enterprise value growth has grown by 5.5x in the last 5 or 6 years. So that means that we are currently in one of the fastest growing economies in Europe. And the European mean is, I think, around 2.3x in those last 5-6 years. Estonia is still number 1 in total numbers, of course, we all know that. So that's why also you see in the statistic that the Estonian number hasn't been that impressive. The growth rate hasn't been that impressive in the last 5 years, but that is because all the main growth happened already before 2019. And now Lithuania and Latvia are at the top. So yeah, you are in a good place at a good time. And I would like to never hear the words again that it is difficult. It is difficult to build in Latvia. It is difficult to build in the Baltics. I can tell you it is not. We are very, very privileged. And I've spent, just so you know, I've spent the last 6 years in Norway, and I feel and I see that there's a lot more potential here right now. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so fact number 2. Fundraising takes a long time. It does take a very, very long time. And actually, since 2020, that time has increased significantly because the investment scene has changed, the economy has changed. So it does take approximately like a year to a year and a half. You should be prepared that this is how long it's going to take from the first email or the first conversation with an investor until you actually see the money in the bank, okay? So the process is long, it is lengthy. You cannot send out 100 emails and expect that in 2-3 months you're going to get funded, okay? It's not how it works. It's a long process, there's due diligence, there's documentation, and yeah, basically the convincing also takes time. So just know that this is typically like how long it takes in 2026. Surprise, surprise, you will hear a lot of no's, okay? And yeah, this statistic might seem a little bit out there, but I can attest that it is completely normal to send out, like to speak to 100 investors, or 200, you might send out 200, 300, even more emails. It is a numbers game in a way. It is a numbers game. And rejection is a part of the process. If you're a founder, you have to grow thick skin. You have to be ready to present yourself in the best way. And you have to be ready that even when you do, you will hear no. You will hear negative feedback, okay? That's just a part of the process, so, don't be discouraged. Right now in 2026, investors are actually writing fewer but bigger checks. So essentially, there are more first-time financings this year in 2025-26 than any year since the pandemic, but fewer total deals are actually closed. So what has happened essentially, how I would explain it is that if you raised pre-seed in 2020, then right now the size of the check at pre-seed has probably doubled, at least. But that doesn't mean that you get more money easier. It means the opposite, okay? You need to show more to get any funding whatsoever, okay? So if in 2020 we saw like checks of like 250K, somewhere around that, then right now it's 750 to 1 million in the first round. And in 2020, that used to be called a seed round or Series A, okay? Right now, it's completely flipped. So you need to do more to get anything or to get like a bigger first pre-seed round. So pre-seed right now is what seed Series A looked like 5 years ago. That's the reality, okay? So what do you need to get the investors' attention? You need traction. You need to show what you have built. You need to show proof that what you're building works. You need to show proof that there are people ready to pay for your product, okay? So it's not enough to just make a pretty pitch deck and then expect that everyone is going to throw money at it. They won't. They will not. And even if you are pre-revenue, I understand that most of you are trying to figure out the product market fit. You're trying to figure out like how to get your product out to the market. That's the difficult part, obviously. Building is cheap and easy. With AI, I mean, we can put together a website or a platform in a few days, right? But the problem is distribution. Who needs your product? How can you prove that there are people waiting for the product to be ready if it's not ready to go out in the market, okay? Who are your pilot users? Are there any companies that are ready to write a letter of intent basically saying that once this product is ready, we will buy? Okay? All of this, like early adopters, wait lists of people waiting for your product to be ready before it's ready, that is what you absolutely must have to have any investor speak to you. That's just the reality, okay? And again, this is something that has changed this year. Maybe 5, 6 years ago, it was possible to actually raise money with just an idea. That's no longer true, okay? You need traction. You need to show something. Now, already tapped into this, distribution matters as much as the product that you have. Because if you don't distribute, if you can't find customers, if you don't find people who are willing to pay, then what's the point? Then you have a hobby. That's not a business. That's the reality. So you need to figure out how are you going to get your product, your startup, whatever it is you're building, out to the public, out to the people. Which distribution channels do you have? What can you leverage? Okay? You need to think about building an engine of sales. You need to think about building something that is repeatable so that you can convince the investors that, you know, you have it figured out. This is not like a one-time sale, but you actually have a system, an engine that works on distributing your product to your paying customers. So, yeah, the real question is not about what you're building, because if nobody cares, then it doesn't matter. The real question is how can you spread your product, your service, whatever it is, out to the customers? How can you get it in front of the customers? That's the number one thing you have to think about. Okay? So investors are not investing in your present situation today. Okay? Investors are always investing in the future. So that's what you need to show them. Where are you going? How are you going to grow your product? How are you going to spread from one country to another? How are you going to build a unicorn? Okay? It's all about the future. It doesn't matter where you are today. You have to be able to show the big vision. That is what investors expect. They expect proof, facts, and they basically you need to convince them. You need to give them some points of reference to look credible, okay? So you need to show them how you're going to scale. It's not just about having any early revenue. You need to be able to explain that revenue is going to 10x in a couple of years, let's say. Fact number 8. This is, who here has heard about the elevator pitch? Okay, most of you. So elevator pitch is basically a few sentences, 90 seconds max, to get the investor's attention, okay? So imagine if you walk into an elevator and there is, I don't know, the big investor, the big fish that you've been trying to hunt down, like you get in an elevator with that person who potentially could invest in your product or in your idea. You have 19 seconds. You have to figure out your elevator pitch, because once the elevator goes up to, I don't know, 7th floor and ding, an investor goes away, if you haven't left a good impression, then it doesn't matter. He will never remember you. He hears hundreds of elevator pitches every single day. Investors get a lot of emails, a lot of conversations, okay? There's thousands and thousands and thousands of other founders trying to fight for their attention. So very important. Figure out your elevator pitch. What is your problem? What is the problem you're solving? For whom? Why is it important to be solved? And why is your solution better than anything else that's out in the market? And why are you the best person and the best team to get it done and to make it big? Very important. Now, this is what I call being fundable. Traction timing team. And more importantly, a step back, you have to understand, this is what I see as this is a huge problem with the founders I work with constantly. They act as if they were selling their product to the investor. You are not selling your product to the investors. You are selling shares of your company. Very different, very different. Okay, so don't go with the sales pitch to the investors and expect that they will invest in whatever you're building because you have a fantastic product. They don't care. Investors are investing in order to see the company scale and then make money. Okay? Investors, even angel investors, it's a funny term, but angel investors are not doing charity. They're investing in a company because they believe that this company is going to return them a lot of money. So treat your investor pitch in a way that shows how your company is going to scale, how you're going to multiply your product out there in the market. Like, how are you going to get there? They need to see the traction. They need to see who is going to pay you for fixing their problem at scale. You need to be able to prove that right now is the best time to go to market, because why? Okay? Timing is very, very important. And your team. Are you really the best people who can take this to market? Are you really the right team who has the capability of building a unicorn? Why? Why is it you? Do you have some good experience? Do you have, I don't know, they call it the founder market or the founder product fit. Like, do you have excellent knowledge of the industry that you're building for? Do you have that? If you don't, then you have to think again. Sorry. So, oops. And fact number 10. Here we go to my favorite part, the pitch. Because your pitch is your first product demo. It doesn't matter if you have your company, your product already out there in the market or not, but the pitch is what the investors see. That is what you show them. That is how you present yourself and your company. And the truth is, life is not fair. Life is not fair. The founders who are capable of raising money are not always the best builders. They're not, it's true. I see that all the time, constantly, okay? The product, you might have the best product in the market, but if you're not capable of explaining what it is and why it's needed and why it's important, A, you're probably not very good at sales, and B, it's going to be very difficult to convince any investors that what you're building matters, okay? So you have to train. Practice makes perfect. You have to train. Yeah, and you need to basically learn the fundraising skills that convince anyone. I mean, it's not just about fundraising, really. It's about sales. Like, you just need to learn how to convince people that what you have is good, that what you have is solving a problem. For investors, they have to understand that at scale, okay? So, having said that, those of you who have your phones, you can take them out right now and take a picture. This is a QR code that takes you to a free resource on my website that will help you understand where you are in your pitching game, put it that way, okay? So it's basically a scorecard that asks, you will answer some questions. It's a you basically you'll see. Just take a picture and check it out. So hopefully that helps some of you understand where you might have gaps in your pitch deck, what you need to fix, before you speak to the investors the next time. And last but not least, to those who are actually planning to raise this year or next year, I am doing a webinar, a free webinar on the 29th of April. So this is another QR code that you can scan, or you can just go to my website and and sign up. And I will go a bit more into depth, into details, and I will also have a Q&A session with everybody on an online format. So those of you interested in getting investment this year or next year, more than welcome to join. So thank you very much. That would be all from me.